Hey Rocky fans, Rocky Balboa 101 here, again with another Rocky movie review. Today we're going to be doing Rocky 5, which came out in 1990, was written by Sylvester Stallone and directed by John Avildsen. This is only the second movie that Avildsen directed. He directed the first movie and the fifth movie. Rocky 5 is also the only Rocky movie in the whole series to get a PG-13 rating. All the other movies got a PG rating. The premise of this movie is that things start out bad for Rocky right away. He has severe brain trauma, so he's forced to retire, and then he loses all of his money, so he has to go back to where he started. The only thing he gets to keep is Mighty Mick's gym, which he starts to run. Tommy Gunn is an upcoming boxer, and Rocky decides to manage him. He takes Rocky pretty much to the top. He takes Tommy pretty much to the top, and then Tommy turns on him, and then it culminates in a street fight between Rocky and Tommy Gunn. So let's talk a little bit about the movie, break it down. I like where Sylvester Stallone wanted to go with this movie. I thought the writing was very good. That Rocky had to start all over. You know, what happens when someone that has it all falls from grace? You know, over the years, Rocky, he was a brawler. He just took punch by punch, and so he has to retire because of brain trauma. And then Paulie loses all of Rocky's money, not on accident, not on purpose, so he has to move back to the streets of Philadelphia. He has Mick's gym still, so he decides, I'm going to run this gym. And that's when Tommy Gunn comes into it, and he's got, like, I guess an Eye of the Tiger type to himself, so Rocky's like, I'm going to start training this guy. And Rocky pretty much vicariously lives through Tommy. You know, when Tommy's winning, Rocky's winning. Rocky and his son, they have a struggling relationship because Tommy enters, and obviously because his son has to live a new life. So that's kind of a subplot in the movie. And there's a promoter named George Washington Duke who pretty much gets Tommy to turn on Rocky, and that was almost felt Star Wars-y. You know, it was like, except that, you know, like, oh, Tommy turned to the dark side, you know. But it was good, and then they have the street fight at the end of the movie, and that was different for a Rocky movie. As a kid, I did not like Rocky 5. I remember coming home from the movie theater being real disappointed, and I said to my dad, I'm like, he didn't box. And that bothered me, but I appreciate it now. It's different. The street fight was really cool, I thought. It was different, and was one thing that stuck out. You know, I mean, yes, Rocky did win the street fight, but it was different. You know, if it would have been another boxing match and Rocky won, it was like, okay, you would just kind of know where it was going to go. So that was an interesting aspect to the movie. So let me give you a little fun fact. This is a fact that some of you probably already know, but the original ending to Rocky 5 was that Rocky was going to die. That's how Sylvester Stallone wrote it, and that's how they planned to film it. And then when they were filming the movie, they were almost up to the point to where they were going to have the street fight, and the director and the producers of Rocky 5 were like, you know what, this is too depressing of an ending, we need to change it, we can't have Rocky dying. Sylvester Stallone actually agreed with that. He's like, you know, Rocky's supposed to be an image of hope, so he's like, let's change the ending. You know, what was supposed to happen was Rocky was going to be put into an ambulance after the street fight and die on the way to the hospital. And then Adrian was going to come out to all the reporters and kind of give a speech about his death, but Rocky's spirit would live on. This movie is depressing as it is. I think that would have been a bad move, especially since a lot of people do not like Rocky 5. However, if they would have done that, we would not have gotten Rocky Balboa. And so I'm glad that the ending was changed to, you know, Rocky surviving. But I know another reason a lot of people didn't like it was because the movie is depressing, and Rocky doesn't have anything to show for his accomplishments. At the end of the movie, yes, he wins his family back, but he's still broke and he's still beaten. So I can see why people didn't care for the movie. The music, Bill Conti returns to do his Rocky score music, and as always, it's phenomenal. All the parts that you hear the Rocky music, it's great. Elton John sings Measure of a Man during the credits. Awesome song. I love the song. It fits Rocky to a T. It was written for the movie. But the rest of the music in the movie I do not like. It's really 90s hip-hop. And I just didn't feel it fit a Rocky movie. I think Stallone wanted to do it to make it fit the times, which was in the 90s, but I didn't like it. that's one aspect of the movie I did not care for. Rocky V made $40 million in the U.S., making it the least moneymaker of all the Rocky movies. It did very poorly at the box office, and it made $120 million worldwide. So it did better over foreign seas. But this movie is actually the only Rocky movie to lose money. It didn't make its money. It might have made its money back, but it didn't. It didn't perform well. All the other Rocky movies performed well at the box office. This one didn't. Going a little about the characters, Tommy Morrison plays Tommy Gunn. I thought he did a decent job. He's a boxer in real life. He's not an actor. I thought Tommy came off whiny sometimes. I thought he did a decent job. I wouldn't say Tommy Gunn was as strong a villain as, let's say, Apollo Creed, Ivan Drago, or Clubber Lang. George Washington Duke, that character was supposed to be a Don King ripoff. That's what he was supposed to do, and he pulled it off. He overacted, but that was his character. I mean, a lot of people thought he was annoying, but I think that was the point. I thought he did a decent job. Sylvester Stallone, now you know what? In this movie, there is sometimes where it's almost like Sylvester Stallone is doing an impression of Rocky instead of acting like Rocky. I know Rocky was supposed to be punch drunk, because of his brain trauma, but I think he took it overboard in some scenes. There are some scenes where you can tell Sly overdid it, but there are other scenes where he does very good. So Sly did okay in this film. Adrian, Talia Shire, I think she did good. She had a little bit more to do in this one than she did Rocky IV, and her acting was good. I thought she did a good job. Sage Stallone was terrible. I'm sorry, Sylvester Stallone should have gotten somebody else besides his son to play Rocky Jr. He was very whiny, and I mean, I didn't like how he acted. I thought the whole plot of his son and Rocky not getting along, I think that should have taken a back seat to the story. I think they focused on that too much, and Sage's performance didn't help the situation. Maybe if they had a different actor, it would have turned out better. Paulie, he's back to his Rocky 1 and 2 roots. He has a little bit of comedy, but he's more of like his old self, and I like that. Rocky 3 and 4, he was more funny than anything, but I like how they took him back to his old self. And I gotta mention this, Burgess Meredith makes an appearance in a flashback scene, and to me, that scene is one of the best scenes of the whole Rocky series. It's definitely in my definitely in the top 5, maybe my top 3, but I love that scene and that speech that Burgess Meredith gives. That is such a great scene in Rocky V. So watch that scene by itself if you get a chance. I mean, I know you've all seen it before, but just watch it again. You'll see what I mean. So overall, Rocky V is my 4th favorite in the series, and a lot of people probably are like, man, Rocky V is my worst favorite, but I put Rocky IV is my least, Rocky III next, and then Rocky V. And the reason is, Rocky III and IV are the most entertaining of the whole series. I agree with that completely. Most entertaining. But overall, Rocky's supposed to be about the story, and I thought 3 and 4 lacked the story. I thought Rocky V had a very good story. So that's why I put that one a little bit higher than 3 and 4 overall. Like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't like Rocky V, but now I appreciate it a lot more. And if just a slight overact in some scenes, and if Sage Stallone would have been replaced and Tommy Gunn might have done a little bit of better acting, I think this would have been a phenomenal movie.